Good afternoon, good afternoon, everybody. This is Real Life Live, and we are back, and we want to talk about some baseball because it's the regular season's coming up, and we're talking about the National League Central Division. Now we talked about the whole division, and we talked about one team would be the Cardinals individual. So today we're going to do that the same way, but we're going to go with the team you see in front today, which would be the Chicago Cubs. Okay, so we're going to go to them and we're going to talk about the Cubs today. All right, so let's go. Okay, the Cubs. Last year, pretty good, decent, considering that, they were coming off a bad year and they hadn't been playing that, the seasons last two or three before last year. But last year they had a good year and finished up with an 83 and 79 record, and they had the manager was David Ross. So now they have a new manager, which would be Craig Console. Okay, we'll see how that works because the players they liked David Ross, the old manager who just got basically dismissed. I don't know why, but it was odd. But in the Cubs, they had a good year. They just missed the playoffs. But last week they faltered with 4-6 record the last week of the season. So that might have been I don't know would that be, but they might have said, hell, you missed the playoffs and we were almost there. So we think if we get Console, we would have made the playoffs. All right, we'll see. Okay, but I know the players liked Ross, so and we'll see, how that goes. All right, so we want to talk about the 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 components of the team. So starting, we will go with the pitching. Okay, so let's go and see who was the top pitcher. Well, that would be Justin Steele. Okay, he was an ace last year, 15-6 record, and that was 16 wins. That was tied for third in the major leagues, and his earned run average was tied with six, and so the guy was an ace pitcher last year, but he was the only thing. Well, they had another one. They had Marcus Stroman. Okay, Stroman, but he's gone now. He went free agent, and so we're talking about the starters. All right, so let's go now. So you got one with Steele. He's a top starter. I got him an A grade. So he's. But let's go with the other ones. We're going with Tally, and he was poor last year. Jason Talley, poor, 8 wins. Earned run average almost five a game. So he's not a strikeout pitcher. So as far as the starters, and then they have Drew Smiley. Started out hot, but and then he wasn't that good after I think it was June or July or something. So and they have Kyle Hendricks. Now he's old reliable. He has won a World Series. Good pitcher. And he can pitch a hell of a game for you. But he was somewhat on and off. But he had an average of 3.74, so not bad. So overall grade for the starters would be I give him a C grade. Okay, so now going to the bullpen with the Cubs, I say Um, plus side bullpen. Okay, last year, they were third 13th in earned run average, but 24th in saves. They gave up certain earned runs. They were like 17th in that, but they only gave up 64 home runs. I'm talking about the bullpen, and that was the sixth fewest, total, you know, in the major leagues. So they were the bullpen was managed well by David Ross. Okay, he was mixing and matching and all that. So we'll see how that goes. The Cubs think they got a better manager that'll handle the bullpen and everything else. Okay, we're gonna see how that goes. All right, so let's move on offensively. We're going to go with the infield, and I like the infield, So starting with Nico Horner, and I like Nancy Swanson too, But they really need to sign the guy that's still out there. That would be Cody Bellinger. Okay, so Bellinger had a hell of a year. Now I've heard people talking about, well, he faded in the end. He had the second half he faulted. Okay, fine, but looking at the overall, excuse me, he finished with a 307 batting average. So that was like six, in the majors, and he clocked 26 home runs and almost 100 RBIs. 97. That was 27. 22nd in the majors. So and he had 20 steals, and his OPS was 880. So hey, that was true. Hey, the guy had an overall great year. I mean, very good year considering that he was bouncing back. But I think he might have got tired in the second half. Might have had a injury, didn't know. But he hadn't signed with anybody yet. So I think the Cubs they need to kind of step it up and try to get that guy because without him, they didn't make the playoffs. And he was a big factor in that. Trying to get there. So sign him if you can, Cubs. Let's go with the other part of the infield. We would start with Nico Horner. Man, he was a good player. I watched him. I like him. And finished start with a 283 average. That was 19. 98 runs. That was 18. 175 hits. That was ninth. And he stole 43 bases. So that was six. So he had a very good year, excellent year, by the way. And he was always in the middle of a lot of Cub rallies. So I saw him play, So Nico Horner, good player. Now let's go with Dansby Swanson. They got him from the Braves. Hell of a player, one of the top shortstops. But he signed with the Cubs, big contract. Maybe pressed a little bit. Ends up with 244 average with 22 home runs and 80 RBIs. He's a shortstop, so and OPS 740. They were expecting a little bit more on that, and but it's his first season, and we'll see. But I think those numbers will improve this year. He was decent, though. But now let's talk about another player on the infield, and he kind of runs goes here and there. Talking about Christopher Morel, Christopher, Christopher, sorry, Morel. Okay, here we go. All right, he was very good, very productive uh, hitter and player last year. I mean, excellent. I mean, let's look at these figures here. With 388 at bats, he had let's see, 26 home runs and 70 RBIs, and that's in less than 400 at bats. So if you kind of do some numbers here, if he gets 600 at bats, you're looking at 40 home runs and damn near 100 so RBIs, and his OBS was 820. So I graded him as an A grade for what he did for the Cubs with all that production, with those a limited amount of at bats. Okay, so now if we look at Pat Wisdom, uh, good player, he has great power, but he's streaky, strikes out a lot, but in 268 at bats, he had 23 home runs. So he had some production on that, with the almost 50 runs batted in, but he hit it like he hit 205, So I would grade the infield though overall grade B. Okay, so let's go with the outfield. The outfield, hmm, I would say kind of like average because they have some good players. We're gonna play with Hackman Suzuki. You know, they perform very well. They produce. But that was about. Then they have the other guy they got from the Yankees, Mike Troutman. Yeah, and he was a part timer though. So when we look at Hap, 248, 24 home runs. I mean 21 and 84 RBIs, OPS 797. Not bad, not bad. Uh, Suzuki though, his average was 285, which was 14 in the majors, and he ended up with 20 home runs and 74 RBIs. Okay, so and his OPS was 842, pretty good. So I would say those two, but that doesn't make a great outfield. You have to have more production than that. So overall, with the Cubs outfield, I give them a grade of a C. Okay, so we have talked about all of the parts, and we're gonna give a final now take here. I would say Council is a good manager. He ain't won a World Series though, so so that's. But so was David Ross, okay, and players like David Ross. So this move that the Cubs made, it's a high move as far as I'm concerned. We're gonna see how they respond to Council. I know he's a good manager, but these modern day players, they're looking at him and saying that, well, where's the ring? He ain't got one. Okay, so and the Cubs need to sign Bellinger. So work on that, and with the pitching, they could have. I was thinking they was gonna try to sign Stroman, but they didn't do that. Okay, so he's gone, went to the Yanks. So they're counting on young arms and pitching wise, but offensively they perform pretty good. Had good years from some players, but boy, they need if they don't have Bellinger, You know, they won 83. I think they'll kind of stall at that. I'm thinking if they get Bellinger, though, they might get up to 87, 88 wins. So it's a lot riding with the Cubs based on that Bellinger scenario. Okay, if they sign him, that ups the win total. If they don't, keeps it kind of stalled. You know, so the Cubs can win the division. No final thoughts. If that's what we're saying. If and the factors are there. Sign Bellinger, you know, and if the players respond to Craig Counsell. Okay, and that's the kind of you know tout. I mean out take. I would say. I'm looking at something here. The Cubs their overall grade or what we think they could win the division, but everything's got to go right. And so that's it for the Cubs today. And we'll be back. I guess we'll be talking about Cincinnati. This is Real Life Live. And we'll be talking about the Reds on the next show.